Thank you very much, sir.
This call is now being
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Ajuma, and I'll be your anchor tonight, which basically means my job here is to keep things running smoothly, keep you smiling, and make sure no one runs off to go eat jollof rice in secret. So, yeah. You're all welcome to today's webinar. I'm sorry for that interruption. You're welcome to today's webinar. Please make yourselves comfortable. There's enough seats for everyone here. We have a short video to play for you in a minute.
Yeah.
22, Footstool Estates Limited is a privately owned real estate firm dedicated to delivering luxury, comfort, and high-value investments. Our commitment to excellence is reflected in every project we undertake. Our diverse portfolio includes the Hutu Polo and Golf Resort Estate, Monte Vault, Solaris Court, and Patriot Island, each designed to offer unparalleled luxury and investment opportunities. At Footstool Estates, we uphold our core values: uncompromising integrity, professional competence, safety, high quality standards, and excellence. These principles guide our commitments to client satisfaction, transparency, and innovation. We are committed to empowering our clients, partners through educational initiatives. Our webinars, like The Future of Sales is Here, demonstrate our dedication to enhancing knowledge and fostering growth within our community. Our clients are at the heart of everything we do. Their success stories and testimonials are a testament to our unwavering commitment to excellence. Innovation drives us forward. Our adoption of sustainable practices and recognition in the industry highlights our role as a pillar in the real estate development. Join us in building a legacy of excellence. Footstool Estates Limited, your trusted partner in premium estate investments in Nigeria.
Hello, my name is Founder, Camp Planner Founder Richard Augustine. I'm the MD CEO of Footstool Estate Limited. Footstool is a real estate brand based in Abuja. We've been in the real estate business since the year 2022. We say, why real estate and why us doing this? Housing is one of the basic needs of man. So I, as a professional town planner, saw it that there's a need to meet the gap because we have a lot of people doing this business without really having real knowledge about the real estate market and not even having real expertise in real estate. Why Footstool, you may ask? Footstool is one-stop shop for anything real estate because we take you through to every rudiment, every aspect of real estate. We listen to you, we know what you want, and we give you all the necessary advice. Footstool is the best place to be.
Hello, good evening once again. Now I know some of you are joining from work, some from home, and some of you are pretending to pay attention while you're secretly eating. And please, while we join, please remember to off your mics, off your cameras, please, so there are no distractions. Thank you very much. Today's topic is the success blueprint, strategies to revolutionize business growth. And the objective tonight is about learning the recipe for business growth, what to do, what to avoid, and how to create a clear plan for lasting success. And taking us on this exciting journey is Mr. Ezekiel Solesi, a prolific author, an insightful speaker, and a serial entrepreneur. He is a distinguished member of the Forbes Coaches Council. He has worked with over 4,000 businesses, helping many scale from multi-million to a billionaire revenue. He has trained leading organizations such as Shell, ECOWAS, and NNPC. He's also the CEO of Lim Simple, co-founder of Smith Animation Studios, and one of the most Nigerian's top animation companies. He also authored The Game of Money and The Entrepreneur with the Power to Change Our World. So without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Ezekiel Solesi. Hope I got that correctly.
Yes, you did. You did. Good evening, everyone. Trust I'm doing okay.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, good. So, can I share my screen now?
Yes, sir, you can. Thank you.
Okay, okay, great. So, let me do that right about now. So, you should be able to see my screen in a little bit. Can you just let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay, great. So, good evening, everyone. Trust we're doing okay. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your Saturday evening. Um, most people are chilling, resting, preparing for tomorrow. So what I want to do tonight is to try and speak to you know how we can really build our business, build our lives, and become really successful. So I want to talk about how do you really grow, because everybody in this room wants to find a way to grow their business, grow something in their lives, right? So let's dive a little bit into that. So there are 5 things we're going to be looking at. And for me, these are the 5 things that I believe are very critical if you're going to be successful at whatever it is that you find yourself doing, right? Whether you work somewhere, you run a business, you're in sales, you're in operations, whatever it is, these are the 5 things that you're going to have to pay attention to, right? One of them is the strategy. So we're going to talk about strategy. We're going to talk about, metamorphosis, the transformation that you need to achieve. We're going to talk about the environment, the environment around you. We're going to talk about relationships, and we're going to talk about accountability. These 5 things are very critical. Now, I'm going to be using the chat box a lot because I'm assuming a lot of us would like to stay mute. So can you do me a favor, if you can hear me, because I want to try and make this very practical for you. So do me a favor and just help me write just your name and what you do. So if you work somewhere, operations manager, footstool, or realtor or whatever. So if you could just help me do that so that we can try and make this as practical as possible. Right? Just help me do that. Okay, good. Thank you, Philip. Sales manager. Great. So I'll wait for the other people. There's quite a bit of us here. 20 something people here. 24 people here. Great. So, okay, good. So I'll wait for the others. So the first one is strategy, right? Strategy. Now, strategy is essentially, the plans that we put up to be able to achieve the things that we want to achieve. But strategy is on different levels. And this is very important for you to understand, because all of us, depending on where you are in business, you operate at a particular level of strategy. All right. There are three basic levels of strategy. The first of them is what we call corporate strategy. The second one is business strategy. The third one is functional, or what we call operational strategy. So and since it looks like a number of us here, at least from those who have introduced themselves, a number of us here are in real estate. So I would use real estate as sort of like a yardstick, right? I'll use real estate as sort of like a yardstick for us, right? So what is corporate strategy? Simply put, corporate strategy is strategies that enable us determine what field to play in. So this one determines what field to play in. Now, a perfect example is, let's take real estate, right? You decide you're going to set up a real estate company. And then you decide, I want to focus on building houses in Banana Island, or building houses in Maitama, or building houses, building luxury houses in Maitama. So that is corporate strategy. So now you've decided where you want to play. I want to build corporate houses, luxury houses in Maitama. Now, remember, there are also people in real estate that are selling lands, cheap lands. There are people in real estate that are selling expensive lands. There are people in real estate that are building low-cost housing. There are people in real estate there's all this different kind of people. But you have decided that you want to build in Maitama. So that is corporate strategy. Business strategy is now strategy that enables us to win in the market that we have chosen to play. So, for example, when you decide that you're going to build your business, luxury buildings in Maitama, when you get to Maitama, you are most likely not going to be the only person building luxury buildings in Maitama, right? So now you have to find a way to differentiate yourself from everybody else. That differentiation, that ability to stand out, that unique selling proposition, all that is business strategy. So corporate strategy is determined at CEO board level. Now, if you're not the CEO and you're not, on the board, you don't really get to determine what corporate strategy is. You align with corporate strategy, right? Now, business strategy gets to happen between the CEO and the management team, right? So CEO all the way down to the management team, they determine business strategy. Now, so let's assume the strategy, for example, for this company, let's call the company X. Company X has decided that they're going to sell luxury houses in highbrow area like Maitama. Now, they get into the business, so now they need to differentiate. So what's their business strategy? Their business strategy would now be that they would offer curved buildings. So like what's the name of this lady? Something Hadid. There's a very famous designer in the Middle East, and she focuses on, if you see her building, those of us that have been to Qatar, if you go to Qatar and you go to the Qatar Museum, she's the one that designed the Qatar Museum. And the uniqueness of her buildings is that all the buildings she does They don't have sharp edges. They are curved. Do you understand? So that is her business strategy. So the moment you see the building, you know. So if you want a building with that kind of exquisite design, you talk to her, right? Now, so you decide you're going to do curved buildings. That is your business. That's your differentiation factor, your USP. Or you decide that you're going to be one of these people that delivers on time, right? Whatever it is that makes you different. Then operational strategy or functional strategy is, you see, so imagine that we say we're going to deliver curved buildings. Functional strategy is, or how many staff do we need to be able to do this? Functional strategy or operational strategy is the strategy necessary to execute our difference. So we've decided how we're going to be different. So now we need strategy to be able to ensure that we hire the right people, we hire the most qualified people to achieve our goals, we hire the right amount of people. Our people understand the mission. If you want to be on time, they understand that we have to be on time. So this, if you work in an organization, for example, customer care rep for Footstool, you are in the operational strategy phase. Now, it's a very critical phase. In fact, this operational strategy phase is the phase that generates the money, that is the boots on the ground that generates money. So we have Lisa, Yusuf, so general manager Ifeanyi is operates here at business strategy phase and can also interface with operational strategy, right? Customer service manager, operational strategy, telemarketer, operational strategy, digital marketing specialist, operational strategy might, depending on how senior this person is, might interface between business and operational strategy, depending on how senior this person is. HR person, depending on how senior this HR person is, because again, this is HR officer stroke project manager. You might be business, or operational strategy. So this is it's very important. It's very important to understand exactly where you are in the organization strategy, pyramid, so that you understand what you can effect and what you cannot effect, so that you're not frustrated by things that you cannot change. You cannot change if you are not at corporate strategy level. You cannot change corporate strategy. It's impossible, right? So you have to align with corporate strategy. If you're at operational strategy phase, you cannot change business strategy. You have to align with business strategy, right? And if you want to change business strategy, for example, as an operational strategy level person, you need to bring data. You need to bring a shitload of data, because don't forget, the people who designed the business strategy did that based on a particular data. And if you're bringing something else, you can't just do it on your own. So I'll give you a perfect example. So this even happened in Abuja. In Abuja, I'm doing a training for an organization, one of the high-end restaurants. And one of the waiters, this was maybe 8 years ago, one of the waiters was telling me that, there's a particular meal that the restaurant doesn't do anymore, and that they want them to bring it back because people are always asking for that particular item, that particular meal. So I said, okay, fair enough. People are asking for it. How many people have asked for it in the last 1 week? She said, she can't really tell. I said, that's the thing. If you want to change anything, management has taken off that meal because of a specific reason. Maybe, the hassle, maybe there are ingredients there that are expensive, and because we didn't sell enough, it wasn't worth the effort. There are many reasons. But if you want management to bring that meal back, you have to bring data. You can just tell us that, people want. No. Sir, last week, 72 people asked for this meal. If we had this meal and the meal was, 100,000 naira, we could have 7.7 million naira, or I think that's 7.7 million naira in the bag. But we didn't because, of course, we don't have the meal. That information is data for the business strategy level person to say, you know what? let's have a conversation about this. So, how many of us are still following? If you're following me, type yes. If you're with me, type yes, so that I know that I'm not talking to myself alone. Great.
Yes.
Now, so all great strategies are accompanied by campaigns. There is no strategy because the origin of strategy itself, of the concept of strategy, is from a war, and wars are in campaigns. So every time somebody is designing a strategy with you, for you, there has to be a campaign. So what does that mean? It means that in your offices, at any point in time, there's always a need to ensure that we are on a campaign. What are we campaigning for this period? This quarter, what are we campaigning for? Right? Are we campaigning for example, I know Footstool is trying to unveil a particular land. That is the campaign. And the strategy has to fit into the campaign. So if we have a land that we need to sell that is 60 million, we cannot use the same strategy that we use when we're selling a land of 30 million naira to sell a land of 60 million naira, because it's a different campaign. That's how organizations lose wars. Organizations lose wars by not calculating the campaign very well, right? Showing up to a gunfight with a sword. Right? You came with a sword, the other person came with a gun, you're gone, right? So you have to ensure that every time you guys are, every single time, the strategy that you're employing is the right one for the campaign that you are pursuing, right? The second is the metamorphosis, right? Is the fact that for you, as an organization, so for you as, say, customer care rep to transform into a top level. Now, everybody in this room can grow within the, I met a lady, I had a meeting with Mr. Kola Additional. Kola Additional runs the largest oil and gas firm in the country, right? Is, many argue right now, the most powerful business owner in the country right now, right? And I met a lady, he introduced me to one of his staff who had worked with him for 23 years. This lady, she runs the company. He said this lady has worked with him and has worked in every department aside from finance. Now, so what I was intrigued about was, for you to be in an organization for 20, because, okay, so here's what happened. So when we're leaving his office, we're on 13th floor, we're going down, she's going down with us. And some people entered, I think, in the 11th floor. They were all greeting her really nice. I was there with like 2 of my staff. And then she got out somewhere. I think she went to see some people. We came down on the ground floor with those people. And what shocked my staff was these people that were greeting her with a lot of respect were working into their own cars. And the cars were supercars. So imagine what she would be driving if the people that are greeting her very well are driving such a car, right? So she's obviously very, very successful and very, very powerful, right? Don't take into that bullshit talk that people say you can't be rich working for somebody else. Trust me, you can. Stinkingly rich. So what I was intrigued as I was talking with her is, you see, for you to be in an organization that long, you have to be useful, right? The organization has to be worth it, but you also have to be useful. So all the transformation she's had to make to become that person. So the question is, are you making that transformation? Right? Because the reality is that we cannot become what we want by remaining who we are. And what does this mean? If you really want to transform, you must stop defining yourself in any term that is definite and does not support the future that you want. So, for example, people say things like, "Oh, I'm just a naturally angry person." That's bullshit talk, right? The job of a human being is to evolve. You cannot say that you're a naturally angry person, or you're a naturally shy person, or you're a naturally. There is nothing like that. You have to evolve to become what you need to become to achieve what you need to achieve. That is how human beings have lived for thousands of years. And some animals, a lot of animals have gone extinct. They've gone extinct because the human beings are the ones that understand and can consciously evolve. Right? We've conquered the skies, we can fly. We've conquered the ocean, we can swim. We've conquered the ground. We can move at almost like we can move at light speed right now. There are light speed trains in the world. We've conquered trees, we've conquered nature. I'm sitting in the room right now, right? There's an air conditioner in the room that can regulate the temperature of the room. I don't know if you guys understand how beautiful that is. Now I'm somewhere in Lagos. We've conquered time and space. I'm somewhere in Lagos having a conversation with a lot of you, most of whom I am in Abuja. Can you imagine that? We cannot become what we want by remaining who we are. You cannot define yourself in a way that limits your potential and say, oh, that's because you don't really know who you are. We're all discovering who we are. For example, there are some of you here. There are some of you here, and if this is you, right, I want you to type me. There are some of you here. You think you are holy. You think that you think that you're a very good, you're a very religious person. But the real problem is that you can't really afford the sin you want to commit. Like if 2 billion naira is chilling in your account right now, you will surprise yourself. The things that you will do, you will shock yourself. I'm telling you. You will shock. I'm telling you. You think you're humble, you're just broke. Right? We don't know who we are. We're all just discovering who we are. So, right? We're all just discovering who we are. So if we're all discovering who we are, then we can as well move towards what we want to become. Right? Move towards what we want to become. Stop defining yourself in a way that limits you. Right? You know, for a very long time in my life, I was a very shy person. But I realized that a closed mouth is a closed destiny, and I opened the hell out of my mouth. Right? Now I make a living from opening this mouth. But the point here is I had to become this person. I had to build this person brick by brick. So if you want to be successful, you have to have the right strategy and understand where you are in the strategy table or strategy pyramid. But you also have to be someone that is willing to transform themselves to become whatever you need to become to achieve whatever you need to achieve. Right? You need to allow yourself the latitude to evolve. Don't lock yourself in as this is who I am, this is how I am. There is nothing like that. It's lazy people that are like that. In fact, if you lock yourself in like that, there is absolutely no difference between you and a goat. You see, because the human being has self-awareness. That self-awareness is our superpower. And what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is our ability to think about our thinking. It's a very, very beautiful concept. We can have a feeling and analyze that feeling as human beings. We can have a way of thinking and analyze that way of thinking. We can step out of ourselves and look at ourselves. No other animal can do that, right? So you need to be able to metamorphose. So the law of metamorphosis states that all transformation happens within before it comes without. It means that the transformation in your life is going to happen inside you before it's going to happen around you. It's going to happen inside you before it's going to happen around you. It's going to happen inside you before it's going to happen around you. Very important for you to note the order in which these things are happening. It's going to happen inside you before it happens around you. right? So if you are not working on yourself internally, you are not doing it right. Some people say, oh, I'll feel better when I make money. No, you will make money when you feel better. Oh, somebody says, oh, I'll be happier when I'm richer. No, you'll be richer when you're happier, right? It always happens from within before it happens without. So, one of the keys to be able to transform ourselves, one of the keys to be able to transform,
Ọ bụrụ na ị na what you want.
can Chidera or can somebody help me mute Chidera? Somebody who's like maybe the host of the meeting. Great, thank you. So to transform yourself, you need to go to places and go to new places, go to nice places. Transformation is very important. But transformation is, you know what I tell people, right? I tell people that if you're going to be really successful, you must at least once a month have a small budget. And I do that. I do this every single time, every month rather. Have a small budget. It doesn't have to be much. My budget is like 20K, right? Have a small budget, 20K, something small, or 5K, or 10K. And every month, go to a nice place, a really, really nice place, and spend only what that 20K can buy you. Just sit down there, enjoy the scenery, see what it's like. Because trust me, environments have a very powerful role to play. And that's the third factor, your environment. Your environment is important. It starts with your environment of your house. Make sure your house is as clean as it should be. And see, there is a correlation between how nice, how clean your house is and how successful, or rather, how orderly. A very long time ago, I learned that order creates increase. Order creates increase. Order creates increase. Anybody, all the people that work with me know that I'm a sucker for order. I'm like, I'm a sucker for order. I'm concerned not just about what is done. I'm concerned about how it is done. I'm concerned about all of these things. Right? Very, very, very critical. Very critical. Very, 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 very critical. Right? So why is the environment important? Studies have shown that the most determinant factor of success in human civilization is environment. It's the change of environment, right? So I always recommend, and I do this thing a lot. I used to do it. Now I have a really nice place. I live in a nice neighborhood. I have neighbors that have really nice cars, the Rolls Royces and all that kind of stuff. I have a nice life myself, but there was a time in my life that I didn't have all that. So every time I would go to a really nice hotel and just spend the day there, I would work from the place. I would just sit down. It can be a weekend for you if you have a job. Just go. I used to do once a week. It used to be once a month, then once a week, and then just go there, sit down, and just watch how rich people move. Right? You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. You'll be impressed. Environment transforms your life. Sometimes I drive to a nice neighborhood. I park my car and I just take a walk around. Just see. I'm telling you, there's money in this country. You're just the one that doesn't have it. Right? I'm telling you, just free your mind and just walk around. You'll realize that, man, there's a lot of opportunities. And your mind will open up to a lot of those opportunities. Change your environment. Change your environment. Always find a way to get into a really inspiring environment. Trust me. It's one of the reasons why whenever I'm working with a client, I always encourage them, make your office beautiful. Make your office beautiful. It matters. It matters. It matters that the office is beautiful. Trust me, it matters. Make your house as beautiful as you can afford. It matters. If you don't have a lot of money, change the color of your house. Some of you now, if you enter your room, the color is blue. You have red. Are you a shrine? The most exotic colors in the world are off-white, cream. Those are the colors. You paint your house. The funny thing, I had a school that we're working with, and you know what transformed the school's revenue? I went to the school, color everywhere, green, blue. I said, listen, change all the color. They say, but change all the color. I said to them, change all the color to cream. Change all the color to cream. Change all the color to cream. Right? And it's funny. They started making money. So, very, very important. Environment matters, right? So we've talked about three things. We've talked about strategy. Strategy is very critical to your growth. You have to know what to do, and what you are doing or what you are deciding to do has to fit the occasion, the campaign that you're currently on, right? We've talked about, what was the second thing we talked about? Anybody wants to remind me? Someone says, right, yeah. All right. We talked about metamorphosis, right? The transformation, and we've said, do not describe yourself in ways that do not support what you're trying to become. All of us are becoming. None of us truly knows what we are. Every one of us is evolving. So determine the direction of that evolution. Now we've talked about environment. Environment is very critical. Make sure that as often as you possibly can, put yourself in a beautiful and inspiring environment. It is very important for your life, right? Right? Very important for your life. Very important. The fourth factor is relationships. Relationships are the bedrock of every level of success. You know, I tell people, who you know is not as important as who knows you and what they know about you. So I tell people that in life, you would always rise up or sink down to the quality of your relationships. I'm telling you. You know, I don't teach people to stand out. I'm telling you, because it's not like as a philosophy it doesn't work. It works. It's just not sustainable. What I always recommend is that you constantly upgrade who you're standing with. Very important. Upgrade who you're standing with. Right? If all of us are inside the room and only you are standing outside, you'll soon come and join us inside. I'm telling you. Right? But if you constantly upgrade who you're standing with, what happens is that when you enter into a group, even if you have no goals in life, to fit in, if it's a very high performance group, to fit in, guess what? You enter, you move in, right? You find a way, to enter into the group. Find a way. If, for example, you enter into a group and you are very driven, and it's a group of people that are not going anywhere in life, to fit in, you self-sabotage and fit in. Human beings are designed to be inclusive. That's why every way human being is described is inclusive, by age, by gender, by tribe, by religion. It's all inclusive, right? So it's very, very important that you watch the relationships around you, but you also build capacity so that the people around you have the best impression of you. For example, some of us here are salespeople. Some of you have destroyed the channel of sales that you have with your uncle because you have gone to visit your uncle and you have collected 5K transport money. Stop visiting your uncle, and when you are leaving, you'll not be saying, Uncle, I'm leaving. No, leave. Don't tell him you are leaving. I know why you're telling him you're leaving. You know why you're telling him you're leaving. Leave, go home. Uncle, I'm leaving. I'll soon be leaving. I don't they go. Go home. Go home. Because the last time you collected 5K now, that uncle cannot see you as anything useful other than the person who collects 5K transport. Now you are selling real estate, 30 million, 40 million, and you are wondering why that uncle has not bought. He cannot buy from you. You have to work really hard to get him to buy from you because he sees you as that guy that he gives 5K to. The person they give 5K to, they don't give him 30 million. You understand? They don't give him 30 million. So be deliberate about how you're building relationships. Because if you don't build properly, you will lose. Oh, you will lose. And it will be your fault. It will be your own fault, like your personal fault. Right? And lastly, so that I can take a few questions, accountability. So accountability is just like relationships, but it's a little deeper than that, right? Accountability, I believe, is the single most important factor for real growth. So this is, and I've said this to so many people, and I believe it to be true, and I practice it in my life. Find that person you are too afraid or too ashamed to disappoint, and you find real and consistent growth. Trust me. Anybody who wants to succeed must find one person, that one person in their lives that they're too afraid or too ashamed to disappoint. If you find that person, guess what? They would achieve stupendous growth. I'm telling you, stupendous growth. In their lives, in their businesses, they would achieve massive growth. Massive growth. So, having said that, that's about all. So I can take questions now. Any questions? Any questions? So I'll hand over to the moderator. Any questions? I can take a few questions before I run off this meeting. Any question? Question. Oh, jeez. Can you all, or any feedback? Anybody wants to send in any feedback to us?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ezekiel, for that insightful session. Please, let's not be shy to ask questions. Please throw in your questions in the chat box and he'll be ready to answer them.
No questions yet? Or am I the one not looking? Okay, yeah, no questions yet.
Business name versus limited liability.
Okay, so if there are no questions yet, I guess we'll call it an evening. I want to thank you guys. So how do I, let me just stop sharing, I think. So stop sharing and then hand over to the admin here. I don't know if there are other information that we, if there are other information that we, if there are other information that we need to share. So any other question before I take it away?
I'm sorry, sir, before you leave, Deborah Yakubu has a question for you.
Okay, good. So where is Deborah?
I don't know if she
Let me
would
find the
like
question.
to unmute her mic or
Oh
just
yeah,
drop
she
a
can
question in
unmute.
the chat
Yeah,
box.
anyone is fine.
Okay, Deborah, please ask your question.
So Deborah can ask her question. Ask her question. Okay, so she wrote it out. Okay, so like the instance you gave of visiting your uncle and something. So what do you do when you don't have any? Why would you? Why would you go and visit somebody if you don't have money to go back home? You should have stayed in your house now. So let me explain. You see, there are things that we've done, and I'm sure there are people in this room um, who are fall victim to this, right? And there are things that you do in the days of ignorance, and they come to hurt you really bad in the future. So the first rule is, now that you know, don't see. There's nothing wrong with being in your house. You don't have to. You don't have to go and visit anybody. No, don't go. When you have limited capital, stay in your house. Learn how to sell. Sell something and make your ends meet. Listen, the moment a wealthy person, the moment you start to ask for petty cash from wealthy people, you are closing out a massive opportunity to be able to represent anything other than that to them. I'm telling you. I wish there was somebody on the call that can maybe corroborate what I'm saying. You know, they have an uncle or an auntie or somebody that they've collected money from. And that uncle is it's just not going to take you seriously, unfortunately. Right? So you have to think very, very hard and deep about. I mean, there's no crime in not going to see somebody if you don't have the money to come back. This is well, sure.
Okay,
I don't know
sorry
how
to.
to.
Can I ask my question?
Please do.
So, are you saying that, oh, I have an uncle that I am very familiar with, and then
Yeah.
I'm going back, and he's like, oh, just take this for T-Fair now. So, because I sell land or I have something to sell, I just like, oh no, uncle, I don't want to take that money because he will not buy from me. Is that what you're saying?
What? So I'm asking, why are you asking such a question? This question is a very weird question. Because are you going to tell him that I'm not going to take that money because you're not going to buy from me? You're not going to say that now. That's a very simplistic thing to say. But
No.
what I am telling you now, right, is this. Right? Is the moment you start to ask and seek for alms. In fact, personally, I rarely go visit people, but when I do, go there with a gift for their children. And when you are leaving, leave. I know you know what I'm talking about. You guys that ask for money, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you go, you look your uncle in the face, and then you say something like, "Uncle, I'm leaving." You say it the same way those security guys used to say, "Happy weekend, bros." You're begging for money. Why? And don't forget, right? If you beg somebody for money and the person gives you, see, take it from me. I have 54 friends that do over $1 billion and 4 friends that do over $1 trillion. Rich people have an inability to unsee you if they've seen anything about you. So, what you show to them about yourself is critically important. Critically important. Right? Critically. So, it's better that you sit in your house if you don't have money. If you have money, go and visit somebody with a gift for their kids, for something, and when you are done, leave. Leave. Don't over explain and over inform that you are leaving. Right? Leave. Because if you don't leave and that person and the person starts to give you alms, it's going to come to hurt you significantly. Right? You might never be able to get them to do business with you. And even when you do, you might never be able to get them to recommend you to anybody. They'll buy the land from you just to help you. But you don't want that, right? You want a real business. So Bucci says, how do you combine above strategies you mentioned? It's very easy to combine it on a limited budget, right? So what have we said, right? The first thing that we've said is that make sure that your strategy fits your... So take a food business. Let me give you an instance. I've worked with a particular food business. Within 14 months, they exceeded 100 million a year. So what did we do? The guy's going to start a food business, right? And again, remember there are 3 levels of strategy, right? There is corporate strategy, which helps you determine what markets to play in. And in the food business, there are different markets to play in. If you want to do food business, you can own a restaurant. That's one market. You can do event catering. That's another market. You can do corporate trade catering. That's another market. You can do this one where you cook soups and deliver to people's houses. That's another market, right? So we decided, like, for his type of business, the best for him to do was corporate catering. So to do corporate catering, he went around. He started out with the organization that his wife worked. His wife worked in an organization at the time, and so he started to send food to the organization, and the wife got some orders and the likes. And before you knew it, the organization that the wife worked started contracting them to do food. So they had what do you call that thing? A menu, a digital menu that they would share for the week, and people would pick things and then they would make the food. That didn't cost him money. In fact, the reason why he started the business was that there was a lady right beside his house that used to sell akara. And he did not know that the lady used to park a Prado Jeep right there. The lady had been selling that thing for 20-something years. She had children in London schooling. He was asking the lady makes 120,000 every single day, working 3 hours a day. The lady has her own house. So this lady has a limited budget. She starts. So that's corporate strategy. That's the corporate strategy level, right? So you get there. As you enter into the place, how do you differentiate yourself, right? You have to differentiate yourself. You have to be better than the person that they were using before, because they were obviously using somebody, but you have to be better than the person you're using before. So you figure that one out, right? And then, like I said, you need to transform. At some point, he had to. By the way, while he was building this $100 million business, he was still working. So he had to become an early riser, right? He would wake up at 2 a.m. He would cook till 5 a.m. He would, pack it up, send it down. He would go to his work. Down the road, he built an entire team, moved into a duplex, turned the entire backyard into a kitchen, had people, and he was still working. He was doing food for First Bank. He was doing for Andela at the time. He was doing stuff for MTN. He was doing stuff for TSL. I'm telling you, and he was still working, right? Didn't cost him a lot of money, right? We talked about the fact that you need to watch the environment. He started hanging out around a lot of entrepreneurs. He was a very good friend of mine. Entrepreneurs, right? If you're hanging around entrepreneurs, guess what? You catch the fire entrepreneurs have. He started having relationships with people. And to the question that the maker asked, he became accountable to me, right? The moment he tells me something, I'm going to make sure, I'm not going to give him any slack. I'm going to make sure that he does it. I have people like that I'm accountable to. Mentors, those kind of people, I walk up to them and I tell them, if I ever tell any of those guys anything that I'm going to do, I cannot come back and tell them I did not do it. So I'll either do it or I'll die trying. That's what we mean by finding somebody that you are too afraid or too ashamed to disappoint. I'm telling you, I have 3 people like that in my life. 3 of them. The day I decide I'm going to do something, I would, in fact, I would call them and I will tell them before I figure it out. I remember when I wanted to do one of our first convention. It was going to cost me more than 100 million to do. The day I made up my mind, I was still at an event. I picked up my phone, I called, I told the people that I needed to tell. And the moment I told them, I knew that the only reason why I won't do this thing is that I'm dead. I value their respect. I value their respect over my life so much that I do not have the capacity to not follow through on the thing that they have, on the things that I have said to them. Find that type of person. You'll be successful. I guarantee that you'll be successful if you find that kind of person. All right? Trust me, you will be. So, I don't know if this helped Gucci and Emeka a little bit. But is there any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm listening.
Yeah, good evening, sir. This is Philip. All right.
Yeah.
I think I've heard you say this again and again. Who you know is not as important as who knows you. And I think I'm requesting that you throw more lights on that. But what I can deduce from that is
No problem. Let me deduce it for you. Just wait.
okay.
Just wait. Philip, do you know Dangote?
Yes, I do, but he doesn't know me.
Does he know you?
He doesn't know me.
No. So right now, do you think that if Dangote knows your name, if you are a phone number on his phone book, do you think your account balance will be the same thing?
Not at all.
If you find a way to make it to Dangote's phone book, like you and Dangote, you could send Dangote a message right now
Yes.
and he would answer you. Yeah. On Wednesday, we had somebody speak at our mastermind meeting who is on a WhatsApp basis with Dangote. He and Dangote chat on WhatsApp. That guy has been doing $1 trillion in his business since 10 years ago. You see, it doesn't matter who you know. It matters who knows you and what they know about you. And this is very important because a lot of us walk around trying to network, and networking is good, but as you're doing that, you need to control the impression you have on others, how people see you. Because them seeing you or hearing of you or meeting you is not as important as the impression that they will get of you.
Yes, it does.
I don't know if that helps. Okay, so somebody asked, how can upcoming business in Nigeria navigate challenges like inflation, unstoppable policy, high competition, while still growing? You navigate it by navigating it too. I mean, so the reality is to navigate everything that you've said is the best way to navigate it is to grow fast. If the business grows faster than inflation, if the business is agile and moves very quickly, you would not be affected by inflation. You will not be affected heavily by policies. You will not be affected by competition. You won't be affected by any of those things. And that's the decision that we've taken in our business, right? So every year is always better than the previous year. And to be honest with you, I haven't felt the burn of the economy on our business for 8 years. I'm telling you, I haven't had to say that we didn't do something in our business because of an economic policy or because of the inflation. I haven't given, and you know, I have members of my team. I have one member of my team. I have never given the economy or anything as an excuse as to why we haven't achieved what we want to achieve, because it doesn't exist. You know, economy policy, inflation, or unstoppable policies, it's just called a Tuesday morning. It's a Tuesday morning. That's all it is, right? It's Tuesday, right? It's, you know, just get up and just get going, right? Now, the reason why I'm saying that is this, right? You need to stop, because when people are looking out for economic policy on how you can destroy their business and all that, you're looking for excuse, and you would find the excuse. You will, trust me. You will find what you're looking for in this life, right? So I'm not looking for excuses, right? Right? I have a goal. My goal is clear. The economy shifts. Guess what? I don't change my goal. I change my plan. The goal doesn't shift, the plan shifts, but we keep going. I don't know if that helps. The cocoa is we got to keep moving. Okay, so it's 9:01. I'm about to move. I have a call with Russell. Thank you very much. I hope this was good. I like the Q&As. The questions were really nice.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So can I run?
No further questions. Yes, sir, you can run.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.
You too, sir. At this point, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. Your time, your attention, and your participation means a lot to us. I hope you all are living with fresh strategies. So on behalf of the entire team at Footstool, we say thank you once again for being part of this session. And don't forget that we host our webinar every last Saturday of the month. So do well to join us this time next month. So until next time, see you guys next time and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye.
Ajuma, see you on Monday.
Mr. Philip, see you on Monday too.
Excision,
We have a
excision, gazette. Ever heard people talk about excision and gazette when buying land? It may sound big and scary, but let me explain them with cake and record books. Imagine the government baked a very big cake. By law, the whole cake belongs to them. And one day, the government decides to share parts of the cake back to certain communities. That's excision. It's like saying, this slice of cake now belongs to you. You can share it however you want. But here's the problem. Anyone can claim that they were given a slice. So how do we know for sure? The government writes it in their official diary, like a family record book. That diary is called the Gazette. Once it's in the Gazette, it's proof that the community really owns that slice and nobody can argue it. Now in real estate, excision means the government has officially released a piece of land to the original community. Gazette is the government's published record that confirms the excision and makes the land safe for buyers. And if you buy an excised land and gazetted land, you can later process your certificate of occupancy in your own name. So next time you hear excision and gazette, think of it this way. Excision gives you the slice, gazette proves that it's truly yours, and a C of O seals it in your name forever.